So AirTags has been rumored for a long time and everyone knew they were coming. The speculation was out there and I wasn't never really interested in these because I mean if I wanted to track something I can do that currently with Tile because Tile been around for years. Never bought a Tile, I never was really cared about finding things I've lost. But after Apple demoed the abilities of how well they can track things that are lost, I got really intrigued, not by the ability for this to help me find things I've lost, but how people is going to take such a good product and such a great ecosystem to help you find things you've lost and manipulate that to use for malicious things like tracking other people. Now, Apple thought about this and put some safeguards around it. They put a lot of safeguards around it for other iPhone users and other Mac users. What about people outside of Apple's ecosystem? What about all these Android users that might just be unaware because, you know, they're not inside that walled garden? So this is why we're here today, to find out. There are a lot of reviews out right now for the AirTags that talk about how great they are. And I completely agree with those reviews. They are really good for what they're designed to do. But with all great technology comes great responsibility. I just couldn't help myself. I really like how easy it is to pair the AirTags with the iPhone. Just like with all other Apple products, they make the pairing process very simple. But once it's paired, it is also really simple to track something down that you have your AirTags attached to. The process of when you get like close to the AirTag and it just shows the arrow on your iPhone to point you in the direction you need to go for finding the AirTag, that's just a really cool feature. And on top of that, it uses the iPhone haptics. Like as you get closer to the AirTag, it like starts to pulse rapidly. That's just a really cool feature, and I think this whole thing was just thought out very well. But most of us know this by now. What I want to know, and I'm sure probably most of you want to know, is how well are you protected from someone unknowingly tracking you? Apple did think about this and did create some safeguards around this if you have an iPhone, but these safeguards weren't implemented too well. Before I made this video, I just wanted to give it some time to see if some of these things will be addressed, and they weren't addressed. So I came to the conclusion that this is Apple's intended way for these to function. So here we are jumping into this video and talking about how well these work for notifying someone that's being unknowingly tracked. If you're unknowingly being tracked and you have an iPhone, the iPhone will notify you at some point that you're being tracked by AirTag. The problem is it takes way too long for it to actually tell you that the AirTag is tracking you. To test this out, I tracked my wife, and it wasn't maliciously. It was strictly for testing purposes only. But I didn't want to let her know that I was testing this out because I wanted to see her real reaction once she found out she was being tracked. Well, I got her reaction and it was hilarious. And I wish I was recording at that time so I can get it. It was funny to me, but it wasn't funny to her at all. It was pretty unsettling because how long she was being tracked. It was following her for at least 5 hours and it didn't let her know until about 3 hours later. So I was saying about 8 hours in total that AirTag was with her, and they didn't let her know until like very late in the day, which was very strange to me because how Apple explained how it should notify you if you're being tracked, but at the point that they're telling you that you're being tracked, it's just way too late. A lot of things can go wrong in that time frame. During that time, I was able to check her location live and it still didn't even notify her. I would think that if someone was being tracked by our AirTag and someone was like actively looking at the location, at that point you think you'll get a notification, but no notifications at all. To make it even more creepy, once it notified her, it shows the entire history of the trip, like similar to like if you're looking at Google Maps trying to get direction and it shows you your route. It like completely showed the whole entire path that she was on, like the whole 5 hours. That is really insane. I mean, it's good that it shows you that this is how long you've been being tracked, but it's bad because the time wouldn't let you know. It was just, at that point, like, what do you do? Someone's just been literally following your every single move for over 5 hours. That's not even the worst of it. If you don't have an iPhone, well, you are SOL. Technically, if you're an Android user, what should happen is the AirTag should start beeping if you're being tracked for a certain amount of time. I put this to the test by leaving my iPhone at home, and I put the AirTag in the car while I was riding around for a few hours just running errands. After a couple hours, I noticed I didn't hear any beeping, so I was like, all right, let's take this a step further. I put this in my pocket, ran a few more errands for a few more hours, and still nothing. No notification, no beeping, no nothing at all. And that's probably was about 4 or 5 hours of just traveling with this on me. Just went through the remainder of the day, still nothing, no notification, no nothing, no beeping. And I was just like, yo, I don't think this thing gonna ever notify me that I'm being tracked. The whole time somebody could be just looking at my location live. Just because I have an Android phone, like there is really no way to tell that this thing is on you or around you unless you just somehow just find it. At this point, this is when I realized that this is just terrible if you have an Android phone. Not only just for Android users, but even an iPhone user. Even though if you have an iPhone, it would tell you at some point, but just in both use cases, it's just not ideal for it to take so long to notify you. And I really think this is something that Apple needs to address. It's just because it's just not safe. I mean, just think about all the creeps you know, all the creeps you came through in your lifetime, like a crazy ex, just a stalker, just whatever you think of. There's some real creep people out here that can do some really crazy things because the tracking on this works great. And I mean, if someone is using it as it should be attended, it works great. You will never lose anything. But boy, if someone wanted to do some funny business with this, they're more than capable because, I mean, Apple just don't care. It seems like it. They don't really care if this is being used. And it's like Apple knows that the person that owns this is nowhere by it. And it's still, after hours, don't notify you. In my opinion, there's really no reason why they can't alert you early and often. It's just something that just should happen. But at the end of the day, this is really a great device. And I probably will get more of these to just put them on random things that you could possibly lose or things that I think is valuable. I'll probably get some more of these and use them because it just works really well. There are definitely some security concerns that I think need to get addressed at some point. And maybe after some crazy reports in the news, Apple might want to do something about it. But I think until then, if nothing crazy happens, they might never address it. It just might be what it is. Don't be surprised if you see some crazy stories on social media about how someone's being tracked all day and someone just kept popping up at their location and was trying to figure out how and why. Until then, just be careful about creeps in your presence. But that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm Joe. That was another Joe Tech Talk. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm out.